In Trillian, God of Destruction, there is only one boss, and he is Trillian, the God of Destruction. Whenever it wakes, destruction and despair are a guarantee, as it will eat and eat and eat until it goes back to sleep, only to start the cycle all over again. This time, Trillian has his sights on your home, the Underworld. Of course, because you're its leader, it's your job to stop it. However, every country needs its leader alive in a time of crisis, so your brother goes in your stead. On your way to the battlefield, he is killed by Trillian, with his last words asking you to take care of his line of overlords, his daughters. In a fit of rage, you take on Trillian yourself, and die immediately. Later, a scientist by the name of Foss brings you back to life, but this comes with a price. You are to be kept alive until Trillian is defeated. When Trillian is defeated, your soul will belong to her. With you in your new powerless state, leading an army that isn't very strong, you are now sending out the overlords you're meant to protect out into the front lines of battle. It is up to you to hone their skills while Trillian sleeps. Not all of them will fight Trillian at once, oh no, you will only be able to train one overlord at a time. You have a limited time to train until Trillian reawakens. The game tells you how much longer you have left by giving you a cycle system. One cycle is 1 week, as such you always have about 6 weeks to prepare for Trillian. With training being the main component of this game, the game is much more of a racing simulator than an RPG. The only reason I say that is because the main component of the game are these training sessions. There are 6 different points you can gain of 6 different training sessions that will help you accumulate these points. All of the different sessions will give you points in all 6 areas, but you will mainly concentrate on one type of point. These sessions have random outcomes ranging from poor to excellent, with 2 additional steps between. The higher the outcome, the higher the points you will get. Keep in mind that you can't train every day, because if you do, you'll run the risk of getting an injury which will not allow your overlord to train for a certain amount of time. There are other ways for you to spend your days, such as resting or spending the day with the overlord you're training. Sure, this doesn't make her as well rested as she should be, but it does increase a very important stat in the game, affection. Affection is the first stat to go when in battle, meaning any damage your overlord will face or any MP used will drain affection before anything else. Another way to spend the day is asking your citizens for your support and raise funds to buy better items, deploy better troops, and of course upgrade your weapons when it's time to face Trillian. If you'd like, you can test your skills in the Valley of Swords. This area of the game is actually roguelike, so the floors are entirely randomized. Every enemy you defeat will give you a certain amount of points, and there is a chance to get money and better equipment. You can't stay down here for too long though, because when you die or take more than 120 turns, you fail and lose everything. The points your overlord gathers doesn't automatically level up anything. Instead, it's just a large sum of points that has to be allocated to increase your stats, to learn new passive skills or active skills that you can use for battle. Ultimately, you should allocate these points wisely, because Trillian is no easy task, and growing stats that don't need to be grown and learning skills that are completely useless will only get you killed off, as you won't be doing much damage. Once your timer runs out, it will be time to test your wits against Trillian once more. Thankfully, the fights against Trillian are easy to figure out, as the game will literally tell you where and when he's going to attack on the map by making the corresponding tiles glow from white to red. White being he's preparing an attack to launch on those tiles, with red being that he's going to attack those tiles on the next turn. If you're prepared enough, dodging his attacks and dealing damage is an easy task. Keep in mind that Trillian is not stationary, so if he crosses your starting line, it's game over. When your overlord dies in battle against Trillian, they are dead for good. All equipment on them is lost, but all experience points are carried over to the next overlord, so you don't necessarily have to start from square one again. Despite this game taking place in the underworld, nobody in the game is a snob. Instead, these characters and their motifs are based off the 7 deadly sins. While you only get a glimpse of their personalities as their main story unfolds, you get to see what they're really like when you interact with them and spend time with them. The only real issue I have is with Zealous, our main character. Believe me when I say that I understand that he just lost his brother, his own life, his dimension is literally being eaten away, and that he has to send his sisters and nieces to their potential deaths, but the constant mopey attitude he has is honestly pretty annoying. He certainly has the reason to be a tragic hero, but the constant mopiness comes off as a pain after a while. At the end of the day, as an RPG, Trillian isn't very fun. It has all the components to be a good game, but unless you know precisely what you're going to be doing, you aren't going to be doing that much damage, which is going to feel like a waste of time and effort. On the other side of things, as a racing simulator, it's at least very competent, and with multiple endings, you will at least be given a reason to keep coming back if you so choose. And that does it for our Trillian God of Destruction review. To see a more detailed and in-depth review, be sure to check out the link in the description bar below to our website to the full review. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section. We would love to answer them and appreciate any and all feedback from you guys. And as always everyone, this is Gamalad signing off.